8 hours.
8 hours.
Hey, it says our hangout is live. Hello, everyone. This is What's Now, and this is episode 1. This is a podcast we're putting together here at Exprima because every week, all the time, basically, my good man Kevin, say hello, Kevin.
Hello.
Kevin does lots of research for us just to figure out what's going on online and what's compelling, beautiful things are happening in content delivery and in social media because there's so much going on. So he does that research for us, and I'm able to bring that to our clients when they come to me with all kinds of cool assets and ideas, and I'm able to help people understand what's possible. And so in the course of doing this, I kind of felt selfish. We have all this amazing research, this cool Google Doc that Kevin makes for me every week or so, and I thought it'd be neat to actually share sort of the top 3 or so things that we find that are cool. So we're going to do this Google Hangout bi-weekly, and I'll just kind of be telling you what's now, the neat stuff we're finding that's at least interesting to me, and the kind of stuff that we're interested in at Exprima Media are kind of frontier things in the web. Frontiers in sociology, frontiers in storytelling, frontiers in reading, frontiers in, what else? I don't know. Culinary arts, frontiers in beautiful things. So that's the kind of stuff we're interested in. So let's see. I think this is working. I'm still kind of new to Google Hangouts on air, but it says live. It also told me we can do it for up to 8 hours, but I think we'll just stick to about a half an hour or so. And I have it set up that you can ask the audience, you can submit questions. So you must have an interface where you can submit questions. And if you do, go ahead and submit them, and I'll see them here and be able to respond to you. So let me show you what it is I'm talking about, the kinds of things that Kevin creates for me, and then we can talk about today's theme, as it were. I'm going to hit screen share. This shouldn't hurt a bit. You'll feel a little pressure, okay? I'm going to screen share this browser, and you should be seeing now the my desktop with the browser on it, and there's the Exprima Media webpage, which, by the way, I encourage you all to visit, learn more about what we do, but we are strategy and design consultants, and if you have any kind of pivoting going on, or you're about to start some kind of endeavor, or you need some strategy, or need to figure out how to take all the amazing assets and ideas you have and make them actionable, that's what we do. We're here to talk you through it. We've done it for a lot of people before, and we'd like to do it for you. So very cool. So let me show you what it is I'm talking about. Here's one of Kevin's top 10 documents. I don't expect it to be readable. It doesn't look readable to me, but you get the idea. And Kevin works very hard on these, don't you, Kevin? Very hard?
Yep.
Very hard, scrubbing the web, looking for things that are cool. He gives me the name of it, he gives me the URL, he gives me why it's on the list, and then he tells me what tech is behind it, just because we like to geek out that way. And he winds up giving me lists that are pretty big. This one, they go on and on, but this one's really long. That said, after he does that brain dump for us, then I'm able to choose some. And maybe in the future, when he does this brain dump, it's here in Portland, but maybe I can invite people over to see the original brain dump if you want. Or maybe we could even do the brain dump on air somehow. But either way, I'm going to curate the brain dump for you. So there's a number of things he showed me this time, and a theme kind of popped out. Sometimes he researches along a theme, but this time a theme just popped out. And the theme was leveraging the other. It had to do with the using the web, which of course is something we're really familiar with, using the web to leverage other people, leverage the crowd. Social media does that for us, obviously, and things like crowdfunding. It's not necessarily a new idea. I guess it is a new idea in that it's like, what, 3-4 years old. So all this is super brand spanking new. So I can't be very flip about this being social media is an old idea. It's actually super brand new. We have no idea what we're doing with it, and we're still trying to figure it out. So there are interesting developments happening every week, leveraging social media, leveraging the other, leveraging the crowd. And I can't imagine these technologies and what they imply sociologically for us will plateau for years to come. They won't plateau. There'll be lots of innovations and cool stuff going on. So let's look at some of the things that I was grooving on. There's a few. I think there's at least 3 or 4 I could talk to you about. One of them maybe isn't a feature or a piece of software, but just a really nice piece of sociological reporting. And that is from The Guardian. And this one's called Digital Deadly Sins. And this is really fascinating. It's a neat little, just check out the interface, that it's got all these different themes based on the deadly sins: envy, pride, wrath, lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, things like that, things that none of which I'm guilty of. And you can look at a category using this cool interface, which is all JavaScript, right, Kev?
Yes.
It's all, it's not, it's so flashy and awesome looking, but it's just JavaScript. And so you can look at the categories of how the digital world has brought envy, allows us to express our envy. Obviously, these sins aren't new, but digital enables them in different ways. So social media in particular enables them in certain ways, how it enables envy or pride or wrath or what have you. But just to take a look at it from a UX perspective for a minute, what I dig about this is that the navigation is really, it's beautiful, it's non-linear, it's kind of floaty, and you've got these, like, here are the individual stories, and you can kind of hover over an original, a grain of just a single story, and then see what category it belongs to. I don't know, it's kind of neat. There's something kind of slick about it, and I guess not slick. I mean slick in the best possible way. There's something open-ended about it. I think the new storytelling and the new reading that digital allows is a certain untetheredness from linearity, or if that's a word. And there's sort of this non-linear way to be able to groove through the content is really appealing to me. So you choose one. Which one do you want to choose, Kevin? Envy, pride, wrath, lust, gluttony, sloth, or greed?
Let's choose sloth.
Sloth. Good choice. So, sloth. So once you get inside one, you get, again, really nice navigation. This is all really simple, light front-end code. It's all, HTML, JavaScript, HTML5, obviously. And there's some things in here. There's a survey that you can take and see immediate results. There's a video you can watch, and there's some journalism you can read. So this woman is guilty of serial online dating. I don't know how that wound up in sloth. Maybe that's lazy dating. But there you see you've got a nice story. It's got a little parallax going. No, it's just beautiful. It's a nice piece of reporting, a nice piece of sociology. I really dig the interface. And it's up our alley in that we can kind of learn and quasi-academically what this is doing to us sociologically. Let's see. Are we back in sloth? I want to take one of these surveys. Let me go back. Let's take lust. Let's just say. And see if I can't get to the survey. Oh, this is the video. Right. Very cool. Oh, look at that. There's even navigation like this. I didn't know there was. Stories. Oh, this one doesn't have a survey, does it? Which one has a survey, Kev? I want to take one.
I believe I know that Pride does, I believe.
Pride. Let me get inside Pride. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to reset the interface. I got lost in a navigation rabbit hole. Well, this is the nice intro. Yeah, the participation is minor. Here we go. Which one did you say, Kev? Lust?
I think it was Pride.
Oh, Pride. Shit. I chose Lust again. I can't help it. Here's the survey for Lust secret email account. What do you think? So check out the survey you can take. I have an email account my partner doesn't know about, and do you absolve that or condemn that? And I absolve that, hypothetically, and then do you do this or not do this? And you answer the survey and get the immediate results based on the 7 deadly sins. So it's neat. It's reporting. It's interactive. I like to see more of these things going on, and I really like as I said before, the navigation schema, and I'd like to see that used some more. So what I would do ideally is if I had a client who had a lot of content, stories, etc., I might recommend some kind of navigation like this rather than just a web experience with top nav and drilling, etc., and see if we can experiment with this as a convention. And maybe it'll catch on, maybe it won't. But remember, it's the first 3 seconds of digital, so I have no idea what will be conventional and what won't, and I think we should experiment in the meantime. So this site's just sort of generally a win navigationally, and it's a win content-wise. I totally dig it. So kudos to The Guardian, which gets kudos for so many other things. So now let's go on to actual feature-y things. We have, let's see, should we talk about storytelling, stalking, or medicine? Which one do you want to talk about first, Kev?
Stalking.
Stalking. Excellent choice. Which deadly sin is that, do you think, stalking? I guess that's...
maybe envy?
Envy, right. That's a really good point, because stalking doesn't have to be a lust thing, which might be the go-to thing. But I imagine we stalk because we're envious. I don't think we stalk due to pride. We could stalk due to wrath.
Yeah.
Or greed. Certainly not sloth. Stalking is very energetic. It's a good way to lose weight. I think we should have a stalking Stalking Jim. So, all right, enough of that. Here is this app that I applied to get access to and haven't yet, and maybe I certainly won't after this. But check this out. This is, what's it called? 20 days, your best friend online could be a stranger.
20 Day Stranger.
And it's called 20 Day Stranger, obviously. That's a good name. And this is really wild. So you activate this thing, and it allows someone else to look at not screenshots, but look at pictures, for example, of within a half-mile radius of where you are at any given time during the day. So that as you're moving through the day and you're driving, the GPS in your machine knows you're driving, tells your stalker, if you will, I'll call it that, tells your stranger, let's do that, I guess better for their marketing. We say, tell your stranger that you're driving, and it shows them pictures of within a half-mile radius of where you're driving. And then at the end of a certain period of time, what's the period of time? Is it grain?
It's well, it's actually 20 days.
Oh, it's 20 days, right, okay, duh. At the end of your 20 days, it's over, and at the end of which you can message each other. I think the stranger can message you, and you can message the stranger, and only once, just one little message. So it doesn't go beyond that. This is, I don't know, it's a really fascinating piece of voyeurism. Obviously, digital voyeurism, voyeuristic practice is already done. Instagram, all of these things. I think that voyeurism and narcissism basically are what runs Facebook. So obviously that's what's happening. This is a way to be exhibitionistic and voyeuristic at the same time, and have some storytelling and have some narrative to it, and kind of, I don't know, get into what a stranger's doing in a very general way. I think this will creep a lot of people out, which is one of the reasons I like it. If it's got that kind of response, then you know something's going on. And it kind of turns your life into a story for somebody else without you having to do anything. So the robot's doing the storytelling. Hold on, I'm getting some crazy music. Do you hear that, Kevin? I'm getting music from my screen. I think I had to mute my Seven Sins app. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
That's funny. It was very dramatic. I was kind of getting into it, but maybe too much. So the robot tells your story to somebody else in a vague enough way that they can't actually find you, but gives them your story. I don't know. I haven't done it yet. I love the concept of it. It's funky. It's storytelling 2.0, which I guess I could dive into more of what I think storytelling 2.0 is. We could talk about that when I talk about another thing. But it's there's something compelling about it, and I don't know what it is. Kevin, what's your reaction to this? Why did you put this on the list?
To 20 Days Stranger?
Yeah.
Because I think that there's a lot of applications being built right now for you to directly communicate with someone. And this is the first one where you indirectly learn about someone else, and you can probably find a lot of details about someone through what they do, through where they are, when they get up, and different sorts of things from their Instagram feed, versus like directly talking to them.
So you can interface with another human being without direct contact. So exactly. I guess it's good for the shy. And yeah, I guess you're right. And you've got, I love that there's enough to scrape, like the digital cloud around you, to use a term that's overused in other ways. I guess your digital shadow is such that it can be mined at a tight enough grain to tell your story to other people, and be fun for them. We'll see. We'll see if it's fun. You have to actually sign up to use it. So maybe I'm being vetted right now to see it. Then they ask some crazy questions when you signed up, right? Weren't they asking like, do you mind people watching you? Or
privacy things.
Yeah, privacy things. And obviously, if you're signing up, you're crazy enough, but they have to cover their tracks. So that's kind of interesting, and I want to see what happens from this. And I'd love to see this maybe be a nugget of some other thing if this caught on, to maybe be able to use the imagery from someone else's life to tell a different story, or to guess what the story, to write a story. I don't know, use these as prompts in a way. So maybe I spend 20 days watching somebody else and take that entire stream of stuff and use that as a prompt for a piece of fiction of my own. I think there's some interesting games that can be played here. So we'll see what happens. I dig it, but I think I encourage you all to sign up, and let's stalk each other loosely. So that is 20 Days a Stranger. That covers my promise on Twitter. Which my Twitter handle, by the way, is @Exprima. I promised we would talk about voyeurism, so there's that. And then what do you want to do next? We did 7 Sins. Now we can do, let's get away from stories for a second and talk about CrowdMed. CrowdMed is something it's been around for a little while. How long has it been around? They have some money.
I feel like they've been around at least a year.
At least a year. So it's again, that sounds like, oh, it's old hat, but obviously it's 365 days old, and the iPad is 1,500 days old. So this is really all all brand new stuff. But CrowdMed, I'm going to do that a lot now. Now that I've done it once, I'm fucked. But CrowdMed is basically a way to crowdsource your second opinion on your health. So how it works is if you're a patient, you go into here and you have to sign up and you have to give a $50 deposit, which kind of creates a little paywall. You get it back, your deposit, but I think it gives you a little bit of skin in the game up front, so you're not just going to go on here and do some weird stuff. But you go on here and you share your medical record. It's anonymized. So you're going to, let's say I have a problem, I have chest pains and I don't know why, and no one knows why. I'm spending all this money on the chest pains. I have x-rays, I have EKGs. I can go on here, anonymize myself, and share my entire case with the crowd of medical detectives that's on the other side of the interface, and they call them medical detectives, as you see here. So there's a crowd of medical detectives who receive my stuff and all start conjecturing on what it could be. And in the end, they give me all kinds of feedback that I am then encouraged to take to my doctor. So I'm getting a second opinion, going to my doctor, and then showing them what the medical detectives have found. And if the medical detectives were right, I come back and report that they were actually right and they set me on the right path, that the medical detectives get paid out, basically, by CrowdMed. Is that true, Kevin?
Yeah.
And how is CrowdMed getting the money to pay them out?
They're getting it from another, I believe they're getting it from a source called, I think, Watsit.
So they're getting their money from third-party funding.
Yeah, Watsit, a crowdfunding website for individual care.
So really cool. And however, as a patient, I could pay, instead of my deposit, I can also pay money, and the more money I pay, the higher rated medical detectives I get on my case. So if I don't pay anything, I'm going to get medical detectives that range from level 1, who are kind of new and unvetted, to level 4, which are totally vetted and really good and probably MDs, and they've solved lots of cases. So the more you pay, the better advice you get. This is really fascinating to me because, well, I think it's obvious kind of why it's fascinating, and it's fascinating to me in particular because it's doing something that we're already doing and doing it better. It's curating something that we're doing in a chaotic way. Already, because I have chest pains and there's an alien growing in my body, I'm already going online and looking up on, who knows, Yahoo Answers and crazy boards and comment streams and pharmaceutical sites looking for some kind of solution. So you're already doing this. You're already turning to the World Wide Web to help solve your problem and give you a second opinion. But you're loose in the wild when you're doing that. You're in the labyrinth without a string, as I like to say. So you're completely at a loss, and you're lucky if you find anything compelling. And more often than not, you find stuff that just scares the shit out of you and is not useful emotionally or medically. So this provides a large, finite, walled garden of curated content, which is my favorite thing. That might be if I was to have a flag, that would be on it. To have a large yet finite walled garden of curated content. I think that's the next step in digital, and that's what this does. It's not like you're just going to go out and stay up all night reading kooky stuff and eventually looking at pictures of kittens. You're inside CrowdMed getting really good responses, and it's social media type responses. I'm getting so excited talking about it because you're getting social media type responses. You're getting immediate feedback from vetted individuals. You could be reading stuff that makes sense for your particular case. It's really streamlined to you, and it's all anonymized, I hope. But they claim it's all anonymized. So that's pretty awesome. It's second opinions, it's social media, it's medical advice. It's cool. I recommend you check it out. I signed up. Maybe some of you could sign up and let me know what you think and how it works for you. It's pretty awesome. And they have an interesting background. The founder's sister was really sick, and he was into, what's that called? That kind of predictive markets.
Oh, yeah, it's predictive markets.
Predictive market technology is what's behind this whole thing. So again, it's leveraging the other, and it's leveraging stuff that already exists. There's no invention here, essentially. It's just all innovation, using things that are already there. Not just technologies like HTML and social media technologies or predictive marketing technology, but just it's leveraging the sociology, the idea that we're totally feel fine sharing information with strangers generally, and these days, and we totally feel fine like going online and getting information that way. And so it's kind of like, as we get more used to digital, I think we're going to start relying on digital to do more things for us. And by digital, I don't mean the robot, but in this case, other people. There's no algorithm per se, as much as there is just the people. It's kind of cool. So that's CrowdMed. And Kevin, do you want to say anything about it? You're the one that chose it for the list.
Well, I think that it's an interesting case of really figuring out how to incentivize users to help other people in a way that will make sure that like professionals will keep on the site and but also vet and keep out people who are going to give really bad advice.
Right.
And that seems to be a really delicate balance that places like Rap Genius and stuff like that have figured out how to do. And CrowdMed is actually taking that sort of thing, and rather than giving you points for lyrics, is giving you points to help other people.
That's all right. You get points. I forgot to mention that. So the doctors, no, not the doctors, the medical detectives get points when they guess your problem right, when they give you a proper diagnosis. They get points, and the more points they have, the higher up they go in their ranking, and the more money they get when they get things right. So it's fascinating. The whole thing is just fascinating. And it's useful for me, I think, just as a consultant, to show clients the kinds of things that can happen when we just take pre-existing technologies, look at what people are willing to do, and create these, again, these large but finite walled gardens of curated content and activity. So cool. Again, if you're out there watching, I have the questions thing open, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I think I set up the interface correctly for that, so feel free. And I have one more thing to show you. So far we've talked about, just to review, so far I've showed you the Guardian interface of the 7 deadly digital sins, and we jazzed on the interface and the content, and then we looked at med stuff, we looked at right, CrowdMed, and now the last thing I want to show you is, I'm not sure how long this has been around either, basically because I rely on Kevin to find all the new good stuff for me. If it's new to Kevin, it's new to me. It's not new to you, I'm sorry. But Stellar is, when I first saw Stellar, I was less groovy on it, but now I'm more groovy on it after actually playing with Stellar. It's a storytelling thing, and that's totally my jam, but it's a cool interface that allows you to take images and copy and pieces of video and create a linear little story. So if you're taking a hike, for example, one I just read or experienced, you go ahead and take some pictures from your hike, you take some video, you might have some audio from the video, and you tell your little story of your hike. And it creates a little story interface that, unfortunately, when you slide through, it does a little page curly type thing, which totally, if you know me at all, you know page curl really pisses me off, but there you have it. Little skeuomorphic page curly thing. The people at Stellar, get rid of that and you have an A+ app. But you've got this page curly vibe to go through the story linearly, and you get from the beginning to the end. But then you can follow the person who made the story. Basically, after that, it's Instagram for the most part. So it's an Instagram for little storytelling vignettes that you can do. I'm not sure the size limits of your story. Kevin, do you know if there is one?
I don't believe that they have.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there are size limits. Either way, the important thing is that you can use their interface, which is really nice. Something they've nailed is the UI on creating these little stories. Pop in a picture, resize it, put in some video, put in some copy, play with the fonts. Really cool. So you can, on the fly, just as quickly as you could probably, take a picture, do the filters, and put it on Instagram, a little more effort, and you can create a little story of what's going on and post that up there, and then people can follow your stories. You can create storylines or collections. You can look at the collections that are already there. They already have some culinary collection, for example, which really turned me on because I'm so interested in using digital to help people share their cooking experiences with other people. I think we've kind of been locked up in that, and I'm looking for a good platform to open that up for us. And I think things like Cowbird and this are ways of doing that, where we can tell our own food stories. So I see some neat stuff happening here. If it takes off, I like it because it's Instagrammy, and I like it because it has its own little storytelling platform, basically, to build your stories in. I just wonder if it's going to take off. I don't know what allows these things to happen or not. But one thing this begs the question of for me is, and this is worth thinking about maybe, is like, so if this is going to make us all professional storytellers, then what's the like, are we all good enough storytellers, Kevin, to be allowed to do this? Like, I went through some Stellars that are there. Some of them are super crappy, and some of them are fine. But I guess it's the same thing with Instagram, right? You go through Instagram, and some of the pictures are fine, and some of them aren't. So what's the deal?
Well,
do you think we're going to get to be better storytellers if we have something like this?
Well, I mean, the Stellar makes an effort to try to help you if you're, let's say, a mediocre storyteller to get to a higher level. But it seems like mostly the curation of that is just crowdsourced. So Instagram, you basically are told by other people you should follow this Instagram follower.
Right.
Like you should do this. You should follow this person.
It's leveraging the other again.
It's leveraging the other.
The crowd curates your stuff. So
but these tools are trying to help people get better.
Right, and the tools that are there do kind of make it beautiful at least. It's just sometimes there's just not a good beginning, middle, end going on there in the storytelling. But I don't know. Be that as it may, it's kind of neat that we're all out there doing it and trying it, and there's a platform to do it with, and that's stellar. So I don't know. I encourage you to play with it. Why don't you download the thing? It's free. Play with it. See what you think. So that wraps up our half hour and wraps up the things we were talking about. Thank you so much for watching. Again, this is What's Now, and we'll be doing this every other week or so. We're going to be taking the stuff that Kevin finds for me in the course of our research, trying to stay on the edge of developments in digital and for our clients, and I'll be able to share with you the cool stuff we're finding. So today, the theme was leveraging the other, and we had the 7 digital deadly sin story from The Guardian, which had awesome interface and really groovy content. CrowdMed, which was a way to get a good second opinion from actually crowd-vetted, curated digital detectives who get monetarily rewarded for guessing right what's wrong with you. So that's kind of cool. And I like that catchphrase. We guess right what's wrong with you. That's free for you. We can't sell it to them. I just said it publicly. And then Stellar, which is a storytelling interface that's kind of like you create these little story panes and you share them kind of like Instagram. So it's Instagram meets something. What is it meaning? Instagram meets.
Instagram meets
iBooks, the short story. Instagram meets the short story. Instagram meets your mom. So that's it. That is What's Now for today. Episode 1 is our first episode, so that's why it's rocky. But as they go on, soon these will be amazing. I'll be speaking only in Middle English, and we're all going to be above average. Until then, try to cook a meal for someone you love. Until we see each other next time, thank you. Bye-bye.